Hello and good evening, everybody. Here we are back with the Crypto Sparbook Show today in English. And you might miss Evitex. He's currently having some connection issues. He will be joining us in a few minutes. And without further delay, I would like to introduce our guest of today, our interviewer of today. And he's going with the name El Hexidente. So welcome, El Hexidente. How are you doing? I guess you are disconnected with your speaker right now, so I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
doing great. I'm doing
yeah,
great. Thanks for having me.
perfect. So let's jump right into it. My first question would be to you, like, what is your story of you and the crypto market, and when did you find out about Hex, and what was your journey into Hex?
Well, I'd say it was started around 2 years ago, 24
Mm-hmm.
months, something on that. I was just searching for a passive income stream, and you hear so many different things, you see so many different things, and I happened to just be doing research, and I just decided to put a bunch of other stuff on hold and just do not stop until I find something that will work for me that I can do. That's legit. So search kind of went on, and you find the normal things. And I don't know and when it exactly happened, but I ended up coming across a YouTube video. It's either with Richard Hart and Dollar Cost Crypto, and these are like the first couple guys that I'd seen.
Mm-hmm.
They said they were talking about staking ladders and things like that, and I had no idea what they were even talking about. This was probably, maybe 12 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we fast forward a little bit. The only thing I had ever really dabbled in is Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I knew about DeFi, but all I ever heard was horror stories for the majority of it, of rug pulls and promise coins and
Or
you know
hacks and broken codes and all that stuff.
yeah, all those things. So I decided to I continue to do research, and I continue to see like a consistency in the community and with like Richard Hart, even though at first he comes off a bit abrasive, but if you just dissect his language like out of the what he says and just see exactly what he's saying, he hasn't he's right very often, more than not. So I started to see all these things, and then I already had Ethereum and Bitcoin, so I ended up just getting. I didn't free claim Hex, but I ended up getting um, going into the AA lobby
Mm-hmm.
for the first time and just finding all that. I never really experienced something like that before. So and then just as I got into the community and actually became a part, I realized that these were all like real people coming out, showing their face, and all of them are, for the most part, great people that all want to help people. So I didn't see that in any other community. It was mostly anonymous accounts. They might have
Mm-hmm.
few hundred thousand followers or something, but these are anonymous people. It's not people you can call when you actually have an issue. It's not people that will actually sit down with you and talk with you. So the just the realness and the genuine people that were in Hex really also attracted me. And then I've just been ever since the AA on in. I've just been full on with it. So I wasn't in day one, but it was probably 10 months ago or something like that, 11 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't day
So
one, but
so
a few months
before
after.
the April pump.
Yeah, that was kind of right in the time. So I was
Yeah.
kind of right in that time
So
frame. So I'm
so actually you put it your ease into Hex before ease dumped and Hex pumped, right? Nice
yeah,
move.
I got that first one, and then yeah, but I didn't really know exactly what it was. All new to me, the
Yeah.
staking, and then
Yeah.
and my mentality actually had to change from uh what do I want today, and then to what do I want in 5 years from now, 10 years, and how can we grow that.
Speaking about staking ladders, what like for a no coiner, what would be a tip, like how they should um think about their own staking ladder? Because I know everybody is in a is individual, like when it comes to his age and his preferences, and like how much money for how long of a time he want to put. But like, do you have any general tips for new guys who are thinking about their staking ladders?
Yeah, I would say to capitalize on the T shares, just get like a good idea on your time horizon, and then when you start making the ladder, start your first stakes on the longest days, and then work your way back to the shortest days. Because if so, a lot of people do the opposite. They'll say, "Well, I just want to start with short first and work my way up." But what happens is that you end up staking anyway most of the time, and you miss out on that T share rate if you do a lot short stakes earlier, and then you get the hang of it and you start doing long stakes. Sometimes that's what it takes for someone to be comfortable, but what I've noticed is most people regret doing these shorter stakes when they could have done longer stakes, because we're realizing now how valuable the T shares are, and you get more T shares, you're incentivized with T shares the longer and bigger you stake.
So to sum it up, one tip would be that you start at the end of your ladder and not at the beginning. Yeah, I also agree on that. Yeah, so definitely you, because then the like the why of Hex comes out way better, because it's a blockchain CD. It's not here for the short term, yeah, to become like rich in 24 hours, in 48 hours or something like that. That you, like from the beginning, get you show the newcomer like that, here we are for the long run. Yeah, we ain't go away like in a year or a couple of months, like we saw with a lot of cryptocurrencies in the last year. They were like 1 month shots or 1 week shots, or some or even 1 day shots, uh they
That
yeah.
that's why I think Hex is so unique in that we've never had a cryptocurrency or a financial product that has had this much money that people have agreed to time lock for a certain amount of time. Like 500 million or 600 million that's staked right now,
Mhm.
all the way up to 15 years. Staking $1 million up to 15 years is pretty unheard of, but we've seen it.
Yeah, it's awesome. So that brings me also to the question: what is your most liked feature of the Hex game series?
My most liked feature of the game theory, oh man, there's just I would have to say the way that the price on the T-share ratchets up, the way the ratchet is on the T-share price, the way the T-shares are built, the genius that's behind it, the way
Yeah,
the share price works.
yeah.
Once your focus will go from the coin price of Hex, like the coin, to T shares, and your mind will just be opened up to this whole other world of the value proposition in Hex, which is the T share.
Yeah, I actually I needed a couple of months to understand like this T share or this share rate system, that it's like a reverse compounding function.
Yeah, it's hard to even it's hard to wrap your head around, because it is you know I can kind of, it's hard to even explain it back. Sometimes you can grasp it, but to
Yeah.
like reiterate it is another thing.
Sure. Yeah, it's one of the greatest features, definitely. So, El Accidente, I we have like some updates with our famous Staker app, yeah, by Fireban and Steph. Do you want to tell us anything about it, or like how is your approach with the Staker app? Are you going to use it in your onboarding processes, or just using it for yourself?
Yeah, so what I decided to do, that I'm probably, I mean, I use Staker app in general, but now that Staker app is using the Gnosis Safe technology and the smart wallets,
Mm-hmm.
that is like the best onboarding tool, but I probably won't use it personally because I think the developers at Staker app, like Steph and Firebun and whoever else, I'm pretty sure they had to pay a pretty good sum up front for like the Gnosis safes to be able to use that on the Ethereum blockchain. So if you're an OG Hexican, it wouldn't really make sense for you to use the smart wallet. You can just use go.hex.com and the way that we've been doing it this whole time, and then save the smart wallets for the new people. So yeah, it's going to be great because a fiat on ramp is built in, and there's a DEX where you can swap and you can pay for your gas with your hex. You can also still pay in ETH or USDC, I believe. So it'll be seamless to where you don't have to do a separate transaction like through your MetaMask. So it will just take out of the hex. So I'm just excited for the how it streamlines the process, because whenever you're talking to people, it goes from, okay, I like hex to how do I get it? And then that portion of time is what we're trying to like shorten the time frame of that whenever that happens. And Staker app really does that, because instead of going through you know, the MetaMask to the exchange, like, you know, then back and then swapping and then staking, you can go directly through Staker, fiat on ramp, stake, set it, and start making trustless interest. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I would have some questions to it with the Gnosis Smart Wallet. So in order, if I as the user wanted to use all these features, I have to create a smart wallet in the application, or can I come with my seed words as well and like restore something inside the app and still be able to use all the features in the app? Or do I have to create a new smart wallet because they otherwise I don't get the integrations? Do you know that?
Yeah, I think I do. I believe you have to create a new one, because from what I saw on the smart wallets, they have a 24 seed word, and whereas like MetaMask has a 12. So I'm not sure.
I would have 24 seed words wallets as well. Like Ledger has 24, SafePol so hardware wallets in general, or most of them are having the 24 words as well.
Yeah, so that would be a good question for them to see if you can take, like, say, another wallet and plug it in and then use the features, which I'm actually do not know. Steph or Firebutton could answer you. That's a good question though.
So then let's bring Evid on. Evid moved a bit and came back with better internet. So hello, Evid. What's up?
Hi guys, sorry for the delay. I had to move to a different location. What were you guys talking about already? What did I miss?
Yeah, we did our usual introduction. Yeah. Then I asked El Hexidente like his journey until Hex. You know, from finding out about crypto until finding out about the blockchain CD Hex. And now we switched over to talk a bit about the Staker app. He already told some of the features, and yeah, I'm like in my questioning process, because the second thing I wanted to know is you need some time when you're created the Gnosis wallet in order that everything loads up, or do you get your wallet installed right away and you get your ETH address? Because I heard that it takes some days sometimes even.
Yeah, I think with them rolling them out, you know, at a slow pace to keep from like having any mistakes or anything, just have a smooth transition. Even whenever I first tried to do it, when like basically tried to onboard someone else, and then they went to create the smart wallet in their Staker app, it says your wallet will be available within a few days or weeks. So I couldn't get past with that specific person, because everyone has a you know, a certain version, and some people are getting the more updated ones, and they'll be able to actually do it. So if you have the most updated, I believe you can do it. But yeah, there is still some where you'll run into that where just like I did, where they didn't have the
Okay,
latest version.
so this is like just a matter of some weeks, because I also watched the stream yesterday where where Steph were on. He was on like Good Morning Hex from Kinetics, from the Discord Syndicate show, and I now remember that he said something that it should just be like a matter of some weeks, that the creating process is easier or like faster. And did you
Well,
try
for
did
me,
you
for
try the
example,
whole
it
process
only
already with somebody, like also like how well, because they have like some fiat on ramps included, like ramp network or Indacoin. uh do you already have a experience, like how long that took from the point of I want to buy one Ethereum till this Ethereum came into the smart wallet?
I actually didn't get up to that point with the specific person that I did yesterday. No, I didn't get to that point. They just got to the wallet, they made their seed words, but the
Mhm.
smart wallet was still being generated. So I've seen videos and other people, I think like Crypto Coffee, whenever they've actually done the whole process where someone has got it, bought an Ethereum or USDC or Hex and then staked it, and then the referral actually show
Mhm.
up and
So actually, with your fiat, you can buy Hex directly. So you don't need any ETH if you don't want to.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it's gonna work, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I did not try the process right now, because I heard also Steph saying, like, guys, give me some more weeks, until everything runs really smooth, and then we can go to Wall Street Bets and show them the app.
Well, that's what
So yeah.
I noticed they were getting like, hundreds of questions in their Telegram and stuff. So there was stuff I wanted to ask, but I figured like it's not real important. It's more just like is it gonna be fully out, which, they've been asked probably a couple hundred times. So I try to refrain from it.
And one of the features I like the most with them is that you can pay your end staking fees from your stake. So
Oh yeah.
Fireban talked about that. So you can like go really with all the money you want to put into Hex, you can go into Hex. Because before, or for us OGs, it was always, just leave 0.1 ETH on the side for fees or something like that,
Yeah.
Um,
What I think I'm gonna do, or what I think I'm gonna have just USDC and just hold that, because in it, it stays right at $1, and use that for gas if I have a choice, instead of, because imagine you do a stake 100,000 hex and it costs you 5,000 hex to stake it or something. You could have been making interest on that 5,000 if you would have used USDC as the gas.
but first
I
you
mean,
lose
not
this
not 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 really.
opportunity.
So because it would either it would cost you like for today's prices the 5,000 hex, which is way too much usually, because it would be $50. So let's say like 500 hex, $5, maybe 1,000 hex, but either you pay the 1,000 hex or you pay the 10 USDC. So either way, you won't be able to earn interest on this money, because you need it for the transaction fee.
Well,
Oh
it's all
yeah.
about the opportunity cost, right? If you pay with USDC, then you don't lose as much as opportunity cost. That's what I'm thinking. That's why I like the idea to pay the gas off my existing stake. Just as Patrick said, you can go all in a Hex, earn as much as it's possible, and then later on pay the fees with the Hex.
Yeah, it's because you wouldn't really notice it, but I guess if say you were paying all your gas fees in Hex for like 10 years, and then you went back and you added up all the Hex you paid or you used for gas, and just do the math on how many t-shirts you would have got if you would have just staked that amount for over 10 years instead of just
But isn't that a bit of a wrong calculation? because still you would need some money to pay the fees, you know.
Yeah, the only
Imagine all this money, all this USDC.
it's like
You could have staked it, you know. You could have staked it, and then it would earn you interest. But you choose to leave it in USDC and not stake it, so it doesn't earn you interest. So I think it's really smart to actually pay it from your existing stakes.
I mean, it depends. If Hex currently is in a bull run, you know, like yesterday, it wouldn't make sense to pay the end staking fee in Hex when you compare it to today's price, you know. So maybe there is a little trade-off. Yeah, maybe people would just decide, no, I don't want to pay the 5 or 2,000 Hex right now to end stake that. Instead of that, I just load 100 USDC on my staker wallet, and then I choose to take those USDC. Maybe there are also in certain countries some tax reasons behind that, because if you buy yourself like new USDC and then you take those ones to pay fees, you might be able to make a claim at your yearly tax letter, you know, because, you know, it's like fees. So maybe there is a way to do something about it.
But it is really individual for every situation, and every person hence will use this differently. But I like the feature that is there. And what I like about the Stake app as well is that the developers, Steph and Firebun, they really took their time, and everything works perfect. So everything you see on there already works, and it's not glitching or anything. And you don't have to be afraid that the transaction doesn't go through, or you don't have to be afraid that you don't get your referrals. Everything works what you see, and later on it will just be even smoother when the wallet, for example, will be there right away when you click on it. This is like one little delay, but I think in the future this will go away as well.
Yeah, I also like that, like no more stuck transactions, because it's pretty hard to explain somebody new to the blockchain, or like specifically new to Hex, like how all this blockchain stuff in the background works, and why their transaction is stuck now, or failed, or say it error, or why they lost the fees they put to the transaction and all that stuff, you know.
Yeah, you run into that sometimes. You kind of have to explain the gas fees and this, or they're stuck, or like, you know, high network traffic, and kind of got to explain to them what the deal is.
And gas, you know.
Yeah,
like the difference as well. It's like, yeah.
Hexidenta, I have a question for you. Do you have a plan? How do you want to use the Staker app to onboard new users? Is there like a protocol or something you have in mind?
That's kind of what I'm in the process of like brainstorming, but we've kind of the consensus mainly. We were talking with I think I was on Cabana Crypto show, and Silver the Antidote came on, and all those guys, and Johnny Chaos we were talking about, and Randy Hilarski we're talking about basically getting into people groups or other groups that have nothing to do with Hex, so to not be caught in an echo chamber. So basically kind of how we all have skills in our own life that we're probably good at, and just create a sphere of influence, or, you know, a people or a channel or any of these things where you're bringing people, and then you can organically, that takes time, but then you can organically introduce Hex to them, because Hex is really what, you know, sent you or provided you to go and do that anyway. So we're mainly talking about to not be caught up in the same echo chamber where it's just getting in the same, going around the same place. But so really trying to venture out into no coiner areas through like specific media, you know, like if you are, say you're really good at fishing, you'd have a fishing channel. Say you want to have a show about like we have a Christian Hex channel, or you know, you start hitting all these different avenues that have nothing to do with Hex and crypto, because most of the crypto world is like degenerate gamblers, unfortunately. So pulling from outside, and from the outside looking in, they're financial world is crumbling. I mean, they now they can kind of see it on the news, all the Robinhood stuff. You see all this manipulation, and the deflation of the dollar, how much has been printed in this last year. You add all those things together, and you have this safe haven for the people, the masses, to be able to be completely decentralized, become your own bank, no middleman. And that really just meshes in and sells itself.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I have something in mind for my future with the Stake app, how I gonna use it. I don't want to put it out public right now, but it's gonna be something like you said. Use a channel to build up an audience, and do not yell at them hex all day, but maybe talk about something else. And then once you gather some community, you can explain them how were you able to do all this. And it is because of hex, of course. And I think if you do it like this, people will be really interested in, hey man, how did this one guy be able to do things or whatever? And I think they will listen. So this is my plan, to like build another audience and then introduce them to hex.
Yeah, and then I think Crypto Coffee described it, like, he had a great point where it's like you are describing to them what their future life is going to look like. When they're in hex and they have a staking ladder and they're going like 5 on these Cuatro Cinco, like you're basically painting the picture. You're not like, there's a dream, which is awesome, and people love that. Like, people need hope, and they need like a dream to actually get behind, and something that's actually gonna work for them.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, my plan is also that I will focus this year more on people who have their own audience, but not crypto audience, and maybe to get in touch with those group leaders, and also a possibility to just give them some hacks. I have like blockchain CD, pretty new cryptocurrency, totally different compared to anything else, and like I would like to show it to you, and also to gift you your first stake, for example. Because I think if you're putting a Cuatro Cinco stake, even 1,000 hex would be worth it. Because I'm thinking that in the next 15 years, this system of complete code will get more and more attention and traction over the decade and the next one. So I'm thinking that in 15 years we will have a pretty high hex price, and 1,000 hex, according to our models, would also be like 20,000 hex when the stake is done. So I would say 1,000 hex is still worth, a sensible amount to stake for Cuatro Cinco. So it don't make sense to stake that like for a week or a month, or not even for a year, because if you stake for a year, you get like 14%. Yeah, you stake 1,000 hex, you get 1,140. Yeah, it's 14%, of course. Yeah, but how much does it cost to stake it and to unstake it? So maybe with little money, you should even think about extending your time horizon even more, and that would be like my way of showing to some people, to gift them their first Cuatro Cinco stake.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a good idea, and I think we've had a lot more success with, instead of yelling and screaming at people, even though maybe sometimes it's needed. Actually, whenever you actually talk to them face to face, or actually message them like a actual like human would, and actually talk to them like a person, then they realize that those are actually people, and then they become interested, and then they see that you actually do care. You're not just yelling something at them, and then the conversion is a lot easier.
Yeah, and a lot of people out in the crypto space, they're like not specific, you know. Even 2 days ago, I was in a different Telegram group, and some guy was like, "Yeah, Hex is complete shit." Okay, good. No? And then, can you be a bit more specific? What do you don't like about it? You know, yeah, the founder. Okay, good. I agree that maybe not everybody on Earth will like Richard Hart, you know. And then he said like, yeah, because like the same as Roger Ver or Craig Wright. And then I was like, dude, and with the links, you know, the video where Richard crashed
Craig Wright.
yeah, exactly, and the other guy too, and Roger Ver as well. So yeah, and then he added that he does not like the liquidity, and that he likes that he would prefer the liquidity to be like in the other project, that it's fixed, you know, that it's there, that liquidity can't move at all. Then I just replied, dude, imagine if that would be the case with Bitcoin, that all the liquidity, all ever minted Bitcoin would be still sitting on the market, you know?
Yeah, and it's just most people don't even understand liquidity. And what if you burn the keys to the liquidity on where you're at right now, and then they upgrade to like layer 2, however that works, and then you can't bring the liquidity to the layer 2 scaling, like, so now that could be an issue too. But most people that even talk about liquidity like have no idea what liquidity is. I mean, there's not enough liquidity for anything. If you like, you know, whether it's the stock market, gold, silver, I mean, just go down the list. There's not enough liquidity to cash them out all at once. And Hex is really cool because it's a staking coin. So the liquidity, even though it's about around like, there's like 3 million on the USDC and I think 2 million on the ETH side or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's at a great, it's still more than enough for 99% of people to do anything they need to do, but it's also to where when those whales start splashing around, that price starts, just like it wasn't, I don't think it was a whale, but it was some nice buying action that happened today, that shot the price up, and it wasn't that big of a buy. So we see that, you know, that lower liquidity makes for a much higher price a lot of the times.
Of course, and I also think that liquidity won't stay at this point forever, because as we saw, removing and adding over the last 400 something days as well, I would assume that we also see removing and adding in the future as well. So it's still a dynamic thing, the liquidity, because it's also the decisions of the individual liquidity provider. And you heard it yesterday, like between the lines on the stream of Richard. He was suggesting to everyone that those people who are still in the ETH pool should also move to the USDC pool. So I assume with this with those sentences from him that he has nothing to do with anything on the ETH liquidity pool, you know. So at least 1/3 of the total liquidity provided at Uniswap is definitely from unknown people, which are not even influenced by Richard.
With the liquidity, everybody can provide liquidity. So everybody is already complaining. But I always say, hey, if you don't like the liquidity, go and add it. If you want more Ethereum there, add Ethereum. If you want to add USDC, do that same. And I think we as a community really have to communicate that we have to do things in Hex. If we want to do certain things, then we have to do it, and do not complain. You know, that's what I'm saying. We should come to mind that we are the people in Hex, and we are like driving Hex in one direction or the other.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's how we could just come to consensus on the community and about, and provide liquidity if we had to. But yeah, it's at a good, I think it's at a good thing. Most people that talk about liquidity have never had a liquidity problem in their lives ever. It's more just noise. Yeah, if you're
100% noise, yeah.
if you're a straight baller like Genesis, ETH, Whale, you might worry about moving the price against yourself or slippage, all those things, that's a whole different ball game. Like most
But
people
those are not the guys complaining about the liquidity and going in the chat rooms usually.
Exactly. Yeah. They don't. Yeah, exactly. Like they'll make the market, so it's mostly just chatter. But no, I mean it is a good. Yeah, we should have conversations about it and figure out what's best for going forward and right now and come to a consensus. That's what a community should do.
Yeah, I'm talking about liquidity for a long time already. Since the old days when even liquidity was really high, I was promoting putting liquidity on there, not because I want liquidity to be higher or less high, just because I want people to try out what Uniswap is really all about, that people can provide liquidity so other people can buy and sell just off this liquidity. And it's a great experience as well. You try it out, then you see how it works, and you just learn by doing. And why I would like every Hexican to do it at least with like $50, $100. It wouldn't kill you, and it just one more experience you can gain from it.
Yeah, just to be that much more part of the ecosystem. And what's cool about the Uniswap pools is that you can only like add or take away from both sides at the same time. So
yeah, you cannot choose between the two pools. Yeah, it's always
no. So you have bid support like from one of the other. Richard explains it really well, but just from recently, I mean, Ethereum, is pumping really hard, and Hex is on a pretty good pump. So both of those liquidity pools have grown, and unless people took it out, but just from price alone, the liquidity probably doubled from a few. Well, maybe not doubled, but it's gone up, obviously, unless people took it out.
Yeah, it's always like on the flow. I guess the highest point on liquidity we had in the last year was about 15 or 16 million US dollars, and the lowest one was like a few million. So since we started at Uniswap, I mean, I guess when we started it was a bit less compared to US dollar because the ETH price was pretty low still, the Hex price was pretty low still, but we started out on Uniswap with a pretty liquid pool already, and there were always a couple of millions, so about 4 or 5 million always to buy and sell into. So for if you don't want to get into Hex with a volume of over 100,000 US dollar or over, I don't know, 500 Ethereum, then you are good, and even with those numbers, so with 100,000 K, for example, you shouldn't go all in with that. Yeah, even with 10K, you shouldn't go all in with that because crypto markets are very volatile, and you don't know what the price will be in 1 week or in 2 weeks, and it can be 20%, 30%, 40% less, and then you're sitting there without any new liquidity in the miners. Instead, you should go dollar cost averaging in and out, so step by step, and then you don't move the price against you. You get a good average price, and I mean, if you're not coming right at the start of a huge pump, then you should get a good average price. Yeah, even if price is slowly getting higher and higher every day. Okay, then you would have gone more if you would have gone all in the first place, but the likelihood that the price is only going up after you bought as a new coiner, no coiner before, it's highly unlikely, I would say, because usually a no coiner is not going to buy Hex when it's that cheap. I made these experiences in the last 2 weeks a lot.
Yeah, that's what I was just telling one of my friends. I said like the more dots you have on that time horizon is much better for your average. Like when you dollar cost average, you know, if you only have one, you're determined on whatever that entry price was. But when you know, when you do multiple over months and years, and you do it the same thing on the way out, yeah, you're gonna be the most insulated that you can be. That you can be that in a
Sure.
market.
Yeah. I mean, I still recommend people like to look a bit on the chart, and when you see like from the last high to the current price, there is a -50, a -60, a -66%. You can increase your dollar cost average steps, because you know after 65% minus, there might not come much more minus. Especially if you look at the history, and if you don't take the and if you take out the first dump out of the equation, where people at first waited for an entire year that Hex started, and of course they were too euphoric in the first place. And what we also had on the first day was somebody going on a centralized exchange, which listed Hex from the first day. But on the first day, they had a pretty illiquid order book, so not much buying and selling orders on that exchange. And some guy got there and made 2 Bitcoin market buy and moved the price of Hex for a short period of time, I don't know, to 14,000 Satoshi or 1,400 Satoshi, something like that, you know. And of course, if you calculate from that unrational point, the first dump is even higher than 85%. But I won't suggest you take like this first pump in the from day 1 to day 33 into the equation, and every other pump dump was like between 55 and nearly 80%. So I'm not sure like how much the big payday dump was, but there again, you know, the wick in the big payday candle is also, it was pretty short living like this week. We were watching it live, so yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Well, the thing is with Hex, you have the game theory, and the game theory is actually designed to make you FOMO. You just mentioned if the price is low, people won't buy. They don't like to buy. They like to buy when it's high. And why is it? It's because when the price is high, Hex has all the attention, and then people are in. They are talking about Hex, learning about Hex, and then of course they want to start buying into Hex. And they also see, okay, the share rate is always rising, the share price is always rising, so I have to get in as soon as possible. And I think this game theory just makes them people FOMO even more, even though it's not smart to do.
Yeah, no, it does, especially when you find out about the T-share rate that's going up constantly too. You feel like you're going to miss out on, you know, the next day. The rate's moving away from you, so you can just go back a couple months and see what, you know, or 6 months, see what a T-share costs to now, and just look at it. But another thing that I've realized about the game theory that I hadn't realized before is that, so say if you stake for an average of 4.8 years, you're going to be getting anywhere from like 38 to 40% APY, which annual percentage yield. And that actually, think about if a price move happens downward, you're going to be insulated from a downward price move to a certain extent because of that interest is pushing you up 40% to a top.
Yeah, if the price, so if you stake 5 years, and the price of Hex is minus 66% in when your stake ends, you're still on a zero, because if you calculate 40%, 5 years, it's like 200. 200%, so 3x. And if like the price compared to where you bought went down minus 60, minus 66%, then only then you are not, only if it's like more than that minus, you're in the red zone. But
Yeah, that sounds right about right. Even with
it's
penalties would push a tiny bit too if it was a longer one, but that's
exactly, yeah,
still
yeah,
a lot. That's pretty
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. And I mean, if you go longer than 5 years, so if you go like 10 years, then you have a 50 or 55% APY, because you're longer than the average. And what is shown on the sides is like the average APY. And if you look in the stake app, just to explain for the audience, you see the monthly APY. So like what interest was paid in the last 30 days, and then shown like what would be this rate for a yearly rate, that you know when you want to do a 1 year stake, you're getting about 14% of interest right now, like 13, 14. And going longer, like 2, 3, 4, 5 years, is the average 40%. And then if you go 10 years, you're starting with average of like 50%. And what people still don't see so much is that in the last year of a 10-year stake, you would earn the most interest, of course, compared to your principal. And there, and like in the long run, there are the Cuatro Cinco stakes kicking in, because they are the most interest they are doing in the last third of their staking duration. And it's really incredible because of the share rate, like how much interest you will be able to make on this Cuatro Cinco stakes in the last 2 years of their duration of their process.
Oh yeah, if you were to watch it like when it's going through that, the
Mhm.
last couple of years are probably just like the gain is so ridiculous when it gets to that point because
Yeah, I
it's
mean, in the last year of a Quattro Cinco stake, we are expecting between 400 and 700% payout for the last year of the Quattro Cinco stake. Yeah,
yeah, the numbers just start getting
yeah,
really big.
yeah,
Yeah,
and that's why I said initially that
mhm.
for the onboarding, I will like to go on to give them their first like 1,000 hex stake, and that I take care where I'm still next to them, that they are staking it for the maximum duration. And then even 1,000 hex is worth it. And yeah, I also think, because Steph talked about the fees as well, and he said, everybody on in the so within the ease ecosystem, and like with ease itself, is having issues with the high fees right now. So Hex is in this regard even a pretty gas efficient smart contract compared to other smart contracts. Like even if you are looking into those games which were built on top of Hex in the beginning, their contracts are like 2 times, even 4 times more expensive than Hex. And he said because of that, there is a lot of pressure to the industry, so not only of Hex, so in the entire industry, to get the fees down, because it's not sustainable for the long run. So he's thinking that in a few weeks we might be able to see lower fees in general again. So maybe they are trying to put some USDC and USDT transaction on some layer two, um, mm, yeah, surroundings, uh, and that would remove so much daily space in all the blocks in Ethereum, because most of the volume in the entire crypto market is done by stable coins. And yeah, that would help out quite a bit, because that's the hard thing right now for a new no coiner, that basically every click costs you more than buying a coffee.
Yep. Just
And that
about.
sucks. We should name it, that sucks. Even if you want to put 10,000 euros into Hex or $10,000 into Hex, it still sucks that with every click, every swap, every stake, you are paying more than for a coffee, or a small snack even.
Yeah, it does suck in a sense, unless you are pretty well off, and then you're just paying to use like an amazing service, and the higher price you're only paying because there's people competing against you for that same block space. So it's almost a good sign. And I mean, not that it's good for the average normal person, but once this, what is it, EIP, the whole coin burning thing that Ethereum has, once they can
Yeah,
actually,
it may come with ETH 2.0, so it won't come like with the current system. And I heard about it yesterday the first time, and right now I'm not that sure if I really like it or not. If it's really the thing where cryptocurrency should go, that even a cryptocurrency has some kind of voting power, like a central bank as well. I'm not sure, because will they always decide in the favor of everybody, or will they decide in their favor? So if they are the majority of the ETH stakers who are earning the inflation, the newly created, then there would be an incentive for them to put the burning rate really high, because then for all the other guys, Ethereum would get more rare, but because they are the majority of the stakers, for them, they would still earn those Ethereum. So I don't know if it's because it's not written in stone that it's price positive. Okay, it gets more rare, but still a price is dependent on buyers and sellers. So if they are coming and selling the price down, yeah, for the rest of the market because of a high burning rate, the ETH gets rare, or they have less in their hands, but they still have enough ETH in their hands, to push the price wherever they want to have it.
yeah, then Ethereum's going to have 100,000 transactions per second whenever it moves to proof of stake. So it's going to be, the whole landscape's going to be completely different, but you might have some, whatever you might want to call it, some economic centralization or favorite, whatever. It's just the network. You probably will have some of that. So I wouldn't be like, I like Ethereum, but I'm not really a proponent of Ethereum staking just yet. I don't know enough about it. And from what I've seen, it just, the returns didn't even come close to Hex. So it didn't really make a whole lot of sense other than where their ecosystem's going. They have all that ETH deposited on that contract already.
Yeah, the beacon chain staking thing there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm also looking forward that we don't need to speak so much about ETH anymore in the future, because we have tools where we have like our own Hex ecosystem. Yeah, not our own blockchain or something like that, but like in the stake app, the whole system where you don't need any ETH, even if in the background it's the ETH blockchain, it's their transactions and so on and so forth. But I guess a lot of people don't know like how the US dollar transactional system is working, or the euro transactional system is working. So most of the people don't care. So it would be nice that you don't need to explain two foreign or like new currencies to a no coiner to get into Hex. that you just can focus on Hex and that you don't need. Yeah, but at first you have the, the process,
Yeah, and they start asking you what Gwei means and all that and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But like you were saying before, the Hex probably has the least price impact as far as because on the gas fees, the long stakes, don't cost you very
efficient.
much.
It's pretty gas efficient. Yeah, but still, it's still a smart contract. If you are doing a long stake, you still have to put a lot of gas into your end stake transaction, because there is a lot of calculations to be done. Yeah, because the hex code only does something if the user is interacting with it. So when you're starting a stake, you're running a function, and then code makes something. Yeah, and when you're in the stake, it's just the user interface is moving, and only if you're coming back when your stake is 100% done, then you run the end stake function, then the code does some calculation again. It's like all this time in between there is. It's not a dark hole, but only if a user is running a function again, then the code updates itself.
Mm-hmm. And I found one other thing that people can use to maybe remedy a high gas fee, because say if your stake gets ended, you have 2 weeks before your stake starts bleeding out a little bit, and
Exactly.
the stake loses 1% a week, right?
Right.
So you can just wait. It's going to bleed real slowly, and wait until there's a cheap gas fee time, and transact at that time.
Yeah, actually, I'm doing that right now, because I had some Bitcoin claims to make, and I wasn't like a big Bitcoin whale or something like that, and so I had like 4 or 5 small Bitcoin wallets, so like really small ones, and everything like with 1,500, 2,300 hex, something like that, even after big payday bonus or like final value right now. And I'm also waiting for those stakes until maybe the fees go down, and if not, maybe I just let them bleed out. It's, as Richard said, maybe it's a hidden pumpamental, because all those really small stakes won't be sold on the market.
Yeah, I have
sure. It is a pumpamental.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, we talked a lot about gas fees already, so I want to come to our next section, and I would like to talk about price a little bit. Today we had a nice price jump, about 30% or something. So is there something we can say about it already? El Hexidente, have you looked about the Uniswap contract? Who was buying, who was selling? Do you know anything about the new price?
Yeah, I saw one. There was a market buy for 5 million hex that I noticed, which is about 50 grand. That was one that I noticed. I think it was. I didn't notice any buys over like say 5 or 10 million hex, but there might have been. I don't track it a whole lot, but basically we this floor, it was like we were creating a floor for a pretty long time with this sideways action, and then basically right at just like whales only kind of described on this chart, where you have the sideways action, and then it almost looks like it's going to go down a little bit more, like it's going to go into that wedge thing that it was starting to do. But every time, like historically, that's when it goes vertical, parabolic, whatever. So that's kind of, I don't know if we're in that yet, but we're definitely bounced pretty hard up off that floor, and it's exciting. I think it's just the beginning with Ethereum doing what it's doing. Just imagine that guy in March that has the 1.5 billion hex stake or whatever. Imagine how much he's like an Ethereum whale. Imagine how much his Ethereum is worth now compared to just last year. and he already had, just with the low liquidity, that guy, those couple whales with like hundreds of thousands of Ethereum in their wallets. I think it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Have you had the time to look into the bamboorelay.com thing Richard mentioned on his stream yesterday? It's a way where you can see the limit orders on the Hex wrapped ETH pair.
Oh, on the 1 inch exchange. Is that
Exactly,
what it was?
yeah. And I looked into it yesterday, and then you saw like a few smaller orders, like at the current price level we had, so around the 5,000 Gwei mark. And if you scrolled down, you saw like a lot of orders, all with a volume of 10 wrapped ETH. And like going down dollar cost average with the limit price,
Oh yeah,
all the way down. So there is a lot of support on the buying side as well.
yeah, that's smart. It's like what you mentioned before. I mean, if you had, say, $1 million, it would be probably in your best interest to do maybe 10 $100,000 buys, or spread it out, not just all at one time.
Exactly. Yeah. I have a question from the audience. It's if you have a small stake, much less than current fees, is it possible to indefinitely good account and leave it until sometime in the future, hoping fees drop? Yes, it's possible, but for the good accounting, you still need to pay a transaction fee.
Yeah, there's still a fee for the good accounting.
Exactly. Yeah. And the second question, would it make sense to pay a high fee and end a small stake and restake it 5555? Let's say you're gonna lose $20 now. Maybe that's irrelevant if you restake it long. Can be, but still it would be cheaper and more effective to just buy the hex on decentralized exchanges right now and then stake this hex for 5555. So you would not lose the $20.
Yeah, because I mean, you're talking in real small amounts of hex, 50 hex or 100 hex, and right at the very beginning on accident, I staked 1 hex for like 10 years, so it's just chilling.
It's just chilling.
Yeah,
so
you guys
should be already it should be already 2 hex, right?
Yeah, I haven't looked at it in a while. I kind of ignored it because it was messes up all my numbers that I have, because I just have a random like one.
Yeah. I know what you. Yeah, got you.
I almost wanted to pay a gas fee just to get it out of there so I could stop looking at it.
Did you emergency end stake it? Did you know?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it, but yeah, that's just kind of one of the learning curves. Whenever you start, generally it's you're staking smaller amounts. Gas was really low at like a year ago. All these things, but I would say where we're at now, like you said, I generally I think you're right on the 1,000. That long I think that you'll be fine, but I generally I up it to 2,500 or like 5,000 is usually. Obviously I like 25
for me personally as well, yeah. But if we are talking about giveaway hacks, like onboarding hacks, because I don't want like to gift all my hacks to everybody, bit. That's why I'm having like the number of 1,000 in mind, because when I look at my staking ladder, then I can save up a couple of 1,000 hacks, that I am able to onboard more than just one guy. Actually, in December, I created a new onboarding wallet for it, which is making me about 10,000 hex per month, and I just stake it shorter term, so like just for 4 months or something like that, and then I take this interest to use it for the onboarding.
Oh yeah.
Hey guys, I unfortunately have to drop out. My internet is lagging really bad. I can almost not understand you guys. So I will just drop off, and you guys can still.
Yeah. But actually, we are hearing you fine, Alan. So we hear everything from you.
I know, but I cannot hear you. Unfortunately,
okay.
That's why I don't know what you're talking all about. But you guys just go on, and I wish you a good day, Hexidente. Thanks for coming by. So
Thanks,
I will
Alan.
sign off. You guys go on, okay?
Of course, yeah.
See you. Bye.
So all the best, Alan. And I'm just switching here. Yeah, but actually, it was a great talk already. I don't like it to talk about like all non-hex related things as they are doing in some other live streams. So to conclude our interview today, my last question would be: what is your expectation speaking about price in this year?
This year, 1 T-share will equal 1 Ethereum. And something fun for everyone to do is look at the T-share price right now on graphhex.rocks. It's about $150. Multiply that times the amount of T-shares you have in your staker app, and have fun.
So
looking at that number.
Because I'm also thinking that even Ethereum will go up in price a bit more this year. So
yeah, that's kind of a yeah, I would be more specific, but that's kind of.
So we are talking about a $3,000 per T-shirt.
Yeah, 2,000 to 3,000, something like that. Yeah, 2,000 to 3,000.
Nice.
T-shirt. Yeah, just a guess, but
that would also be a 10 to 15x in price, right?
Yeah, I do believe so. That should bring us right around there. And I've been focusing so much on the T-share thing has all my attention now. But yeah, we're gonna get appreciation with it too.
Yeah,
it might just take a little bit.
I already have my staking ladder, but I'm keeping it dynamic. So I made a monthly ladder in the beginning. So I'm keeping this monthly ladder for each and every month. I'm still doing a maxed out stake. And like after the big payday, I went over to stake a specific amount of T-shares. So I don't care about the hex anymore. I stake a specific amount of T-shares, and I have a tip for you. If you really want to have a round number of T-shares, you just look at the current share rate, and let's say it's 16,700. Then you put 16,700.7. Or like like a 0.7 is fine, or you put like 1 hex more as the current share rate is. And if you're going for 10 years or longer, as you should do with your restaking, you get exactly 3 T-shares, because the bonus for 10 years or longer is 200%. And if you're staking 1 hex more than the current share rate, you get exactly 3 T-shares, and then you can calculate it with the number 3. It's then pretty easy to calculate. So if you say, okay, I want to have 30 T-shares, then you just need to add another 0 in the end to your hex.
Yeah, mine's got decimals, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to get it back to just a 0 number. I'll have to.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. Oh yeah, thank you. Thanks for the update on that, or I'll do that.
Yeah, and other than that, let's look in the chat. Welcome everybody. Thanks that you liked the tip. Yeah. Any more questions from the audience? I don't think so. I guess we covered everybody. There was one more statement early on from Philflo. He's saying that just everyone just needs to onboard 5 new Hexicans in 2021, and we are golden because it would bring us to a total staking community of 150,000 people.
Oh yeah, it's happening. That
Yeah.
that network effect is taking place right now.
Yeah, there is so much more room to grow, and I think with our really strong and really good and really smart community, we are having so a long life, like long live Hex, and it will be a pretty nice trip in the next years, because imagine what we have done during lockdown periods, without the possibility of meetups, without the possibility of events. And Hex is really a cryptocurrency where it is preferred to onboard one-on-one.
Oh yeah.
Because there is a lot of things to explain, because if you just want to buy Bitcoin, make an account on any common exchange and get your Bitcoin, but when it comes to Hex, you need to explain the reason why crypto was invented, to get rid of the middlemen. That when you have programmable money, the first thing you should program is trustless interest. Then you have to explain what is trustless interest, and it goes on and on and on, and you need a few hours with each and every, especially no coiners. Even with crypto people, if they are not used to decentralized finance, and if they are used to trading, to keep all their funds on a broker account, then it's the same amount of time you need to onboard those people to Hex as with such a random no coiner.
Yeah, no, it's such a crucial point, and like you said, for how much we've done, during basically a lockdown and a lot of people against us, we still crushed it. So you can only imagine we're still way early, it's just, we built a nice floor, a nice foundation, and just gonna be great from up here.
And I also think that over the coming years, if we are continuing to promote the newest technical achievement of the Ethereum platform, they will also come step by step more positive towards the Hex community, because right now those Ethereum OGs who bought Hex don't talk about it, and the others are still like, it's funny, Ethereum is supposed to be a platform for a lot of cryptocurrencies, and they are complaining that there are so much currencies on Ethereum, so built on Ethereum. It's also a bit of a meme.
It gets tribal for sure, but there's some of those guys you probably never see them. It's the whales. It's those whales that you don't see. Those are the ones that you want to keep. You can't keep an eye on them, but you kind of can. But those are the ones that make all the noise. They come out of nowhere and buy something up.
So here I have a question for you. Where do you see the future of Hex adoption? More retail or even possible institutional adoption?
Well, I think it'll be a mixture of both. I think retail is naturally going to follow the Staker app is more built for a peer-to-peer network type thing to actually onboarding friends and family. But you also see, people like Three Arrows Capital and some of these hedge funds that are not only holding DeFi, but some of them are in the very close ecosystem to Hex. And now you're seeing more and more institutional money go from, at first it was not in any crypto, then they went to Bitcoin, then they went to Ethereum. Now you see them
Mhm.
along the way. I think a lot of them have held and bought coins that they didn't tell anyone about, or people haven't found out yet. I think they've been dabbling for longer than they tell us, but I think there's going to be, if they find out what it is, because here's the deal, you can't get double digit yield anywhere. Like, go try to find double digit yield on your money somewhere. And if
Really hard. I mean, there might be like the best ETF of the year. It might do like double digits, but most of the time you know it like after the year, like which ETF did the the 2-digit wins. So
oh yeah,
pretty
yeah,
hard
you
to
don't,
decide it in the first place.
yeah. So that's one thing. And when they imagine it's somewhat easy to get yield in a bull market for those people. Whenever a bear market shows up and they are fighting for yield, they're going to be looking for somewhere that they can hedge, and gain yield from, because wait till all this wait till all this fluffy stuff like goes away, and then
Because like
that's
if
when
you're a long-term stake, yeah, we are talking about APY of 50% even. And if you have like a 2-year beer market, yeah, you come out of the beer market with 100% more hex, So
exactly.
pretty nice, I would say. So if you're started right like at the end of the bull market, at the beginning of the beer market, and let's say the lowest point was minus 75%, and after 2 years it's still at minus 50%, you are break even.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of this big adoption, whatever you call it, like the big money, they often want to see a very long time horizon with historical evidence to back what their investment's going to be in. But they're finding out that the ones that are calculating some form of risk and then entering into these cryptocurrency assets, like thing like Grayscale, MicroStrategy, they're like destroying every other fund that didn't, follow them along, or didn't, that just stayed in legacy, or,
Yeah, yeah.
so the timeline is getting short, that they can't sit around and wait to see if, obviously they don't want to get into garbage, but hey, Ethereum's have been around, Bitcoin's been around, Hex is going to stay. It's immutable. It's not going anywhere. You can't turn it off. So
Yeah, I mean, I also think that once they got Ethereum as well, yeah, and I mean, if you are looking at the performance Bitcoin versus Ethereum, I bet that the institutional buyers also are looking a bit at this chart and realizing, when I buy the second most famous cryptocurrency, which is safer in its security structure, and more developers are working on it, and I have on-chain exchange, I can easily go in and out stable coins and volatile coins. They Yeah, so Richard said maybe Ethereum will make the same as Bitcoin did when it hit his all-time high. So Ethereum also struggled a bit at its all-time high. So the 1500, we saw like 3 tops, and yesterday night or yesterday it broke through. And if it also does a 2x from its all-time high, then we might see Ethereum at $3,000 pretty soon. And
yeah, that was my
after that,
target.
there should start the altcoin run, because it was always those kind of cycles.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting when you see BTC go to the top and then back down to 3, and then what it did up to 40, and then Ethereum is in that move right now, and the Hex will be shortly after, I believe, at in some months in there. It's sometimes we forget, people start complaining about price and realize we had an all-time high like a month ago or a month and a half. So
Yeah, I
we
guess
got
45 days or 34 or 35 days ago, yeah, something like that. It was exactly on the New Year's celebration.
Yeah.
Like at the New Year celebration in our time zone. So I guess you're, what is it? Like what's the time where you are right now?
12:20 p.m.
Okay, yeah, because here it's 9:20 p.m.
Okay, yeah, so you're
Yeah,
about 9 hours ahead, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So this pump was during our celebration of Happy New Year, looking at Stake. What?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I haven't looked at the chart for a couple hours, but I know we went over a penny, so I don't know what it
Yeah.
did after that.
I mean, before the stream, I looked the last time, and it looked pretty strong, like consolidating at the penny. It did not look like that there are like late sellers who are like, oh yeah, 1 penny again, now I can sell.
Oh yeah. No, and I
So
looked at T-shares last night,
yeah.
140 $140. I looked at them today,
Oh
150
no, no,
something.
it should be way higher than if it's like yes. It should be 160 or 170. Like
But
yeah, depending like
yesterday
what
at the
price you're
low,
getting uh, at the end of the day. So we will see.
yeah, I
Because
think
I
it was.
guess that the T-share price is only calculated once a day when the new day starts in Hextel, like 00 UTC.
Yeah, so I think it was 140 US dollars yesterday on GraphX, like
Mm-hmm.
dot rock. Then I think just today has gone. I mean, you get to see, hey, the T shares are jumping $10-20 in a jump.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just 1 penny, it's $10-20. And this thing's about to leave, and if you're not set up, you're gonna be left behind. It's only gonna
Mm-hmm.
happen once. It's already, the fuse is lit.
So one last question: do you think the whale in March will move up the share rate a lot?
Yeah, I do believe so. I think he's going to restake it all for a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah, but it
But
doesn't matter if he restakes or not. So as soon as he end stakes, the code does the function of calculating the share rate, the new one. So in numbers, what do you think it might jump?
maybe 3x the share price, 2 or 3x. If I'm guessing literally, but
Yeah, but I can assure you that that's not the case because large stakes over 150 million hex do
mhm.
have the whole bigger pays better bonus. So they have 10%, not more, only 10% bigger pays better bonus. So compared to other smaller old stake made in December, for example, it can only move the share rate in maximum like 10% higher as it was before. So if we are like at 17,000 the day before him, then he can move it maximally like 1,700 hex per T share more up. So it's not possible that it's 3x's or something like that. So we might go from 17,000 to 18,500 or something like that, but not more.
So they did that on purpose so someone couldn't buy a bunch of hex and stake it and ratchet the share price just at will, basically. Or
I mean, if you're staking like 150 million hex for 1 day, and on the you have the pending day, then you have the staking day, and then you have the end stake day. And if on your staking day there is nobody who is setting a new share rate, then on the next day you will set it because there is a small uh, difference that if you stake your 150 million plus the interest you got for this day again for 1 day, you would get more T shares, and this is not possible. So the share rate goes up like 2, 3, 5, 4, 5 hex per T share. No, 2 to 5 hex more to the share rate. So if you are at 16,500, the next day it would be 16,504. And if you look at the statistics, it usually goes up between 0 and 10 hex per day. And sometimes with this larger ones, it's like the largest increase after the big payday spike was 125 hex.
125 hex.
Yeah, it was a few days after the big payday. So there is nothing that 3x's the share rate right now. It's not the case. Maybe 10% of the rate, but that's maximum. So I would say maybe 5 to 7%.
Yeah, and that makes more sense on the, just on a curve, because that much, if it did bring the share price up that high, it just sounds a little bit like that 7 to 10% thing sounds like a better flow.
Yeah. I mean, it's if you're looking at the code, it will be like that, because the difference between a 1 million stake and the 150 million stake or higher, because over 150 million, the bigger pays better is maxed out at the 10% mark. So a really high stake can only make up to 10% more interest as lower volume stakes.
Oh yeah.
And even a low volume stake can set a new share rate, if it's a long enough stake compared to all the other stakes in the system. So the difference can only be up to 10%.
Okay. Yeah, that's it's like Cream says, it's quick maths. When we're on stream, it's quick maths. Try to do all the math in my head, and
And you shouldn't mix up the price per T-share, the US dollar price per T-share, because there you also have the current hex value, like how much is hex worth per unit, and the share rate does not care about the US dollar price. It only cares about the return on investment you got in hex. But I mean, the share rate is not based on highest. Generally speaking, you can make that statement. So like for the first, generally speaking, you can make that statement, but usually you should say that nobody in the system will ever get more shares for restaking for the same amount of days.
Yeah.
Like for compound restaking, or I don't know the exact word in English actually.
Yeah, compound interest, or compound interest, or compound staking.
Yeah,
that's like when you have interest for so long that you have your principal, and then you have interest, and after about 7 years, your interest starts making the interest, to where your interest has almost turned into another principal or higher, and then now that's making interest on top of it, and then you get the whole deal.
Exactly. So thanks for everything. It was really nice talking to you. Any final questions from your side, or anything you want to mention, like how to reach you, or any programs, any channels you're running?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. Thank you to Abit and Alan, and you, Patrick. So and your buddy behind the scenes. But you can find me at Twitter at El Hexidente, Telegram at El Hexidente, and you could find the Staker app at staker.rocks. And that's about it. Just keep an eye out for me. I don't have my own channel. I'm just going on other people's channels, helping out, doing community stuff. So I might have my own channel soon, but just keep an eye out for me on Twitter and Telegram, and you guys will see the links to where I'll be at next.
Yeah, so I also don't see any new questions from the audience. So let's wrap it up. 1.5 hours in the stream. Thanks for coming on the show. I guess we had a great talk. I enjoyed it a lot. Have a good time and happy hexing.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick. It was great. Look forward to what the future holds.
Perfect. So all the best to you. Goodbye.